if you thought mumblecore was bad as like one of those TikTok trends, oh, like the kind of thing where people just have a guitar and they're low-key whisper singing, and it's like I don't even know how this amount of air pressure hasn't like given you a seizure. Um, like some people think that's mumblecore, right? Me personally, whenever I think of mumblecore, I just think of Mark Kozelek, um, because after like 2013, brother fell off big time. Uh, anyways, today's album of the day. Just thought I'd mention that. Today's album of the day is Further Seems Forever's album, "The Moon Is Down." And if you guys don't know me, I love emo music. So when I saw this listed as emo pop, I was like, okay, y'all have my attention already. I'm already interested. I want to listen to this. The album cover's nice. It has that kind of like um late 90s emo aesthetic in general, where like it's like geometric almost, different pictures, and it's just shapes and shit, you know. I can't even count how many emo albums are just like that. um and what I thought was interesting is this came out in '01. And when most people think of emo pop, they think of like '05 and onwards. But fun fact, guys, emo pop actually originated in the late '90s, where Midwest emo bands like the Promise Ring and the Get Up Kids would combine Midwest emo with more poppy, more singable structures, you know? And that's why Midwest emo is important in the history of emo music, because they invited melodicism into places that emo hadn't been in very much. For the longest time, emo was like just a more aggressive version of post hardcore. Sorry, no, a more emotional form of post hardcore. There could be screaming, there could be yelling. Midwest emo is different because it was a lot less abrasive and a lot more vocally melodic, right? And that's why this album is very interesting to me, because this came about at a time period where emo pop was still in that late 90s era, where pop punk was the sound that they were going for, with still being emotional as fuck and still having those like what people consider nowadays to be like emo cliches or emo tropes uh in their melody work and shit like that. But I personally think that those without those tropes earlier on, what are people gonna do? So let's talk about the album actually. So I'm actually upset that I didn't find this until now. uh this is one of my favorite emo pop albums from the early days, like the first wave of emo pop, I guess. Other bands that I like to put in that category are like, again, The Promise Ring, Get Up Kids, um, Knapsack too. I would put them in this category. Uh, I can't really think of many other ones honestly, but um, like off the top of my head. But this one, I can add that to the list. These songs are very they have like the energy of uh like what you would expect emo pop to have later down the line, but I feel like they're more in tune with like emotional music than what people would assume. I mean, for example, they still have those like twinkly like passages in the middle of the songs where things get quieter. There's still a level of aggression. There definitely is. The vocals are sore a little bit, you know, and I just find it really nice that they were able to incorporate all those things without it feeling like a bunch of emo tropes. Uh, and like, because for example, the song "The Moon Is Down," literally the first song, it just feels like what most bands are trying to sound like, in the late 2000s. Or actually, no, Sunday's Best I would put in this category. If you've ever heard their song Hardest Part or Indian Summer, um, that's kind of what a lot of songs on here sound like, but the songs on here sound less like Midwest emo songs. However, there's still lots of Midwest emo everywhere on this album. I enjoyed every single one of these songs, to be honest, but let me pick some that I really liked. The Moon is Down was great. The Bradley was great. Snowbird and Townies was great. New Year's Project was great. Just Until Sundown was great. And Wearing Thin was great. Just great songs. Everything else was good songs. But yeah, again, like this geometric shape kind of emo album cover. Like we got a plan on this side and a plan on that side. Artist, album title, shit like that. That was a 90s thing for sure. So for this to come out at the time it did, and also this came way before like second wave emo pop, where like My Chemical Romance, Funeral for a Friend, all those other bands that were super popular that people didn't like. This came way before that. In fact, they were so early to the party. You could even put them in the same category as Seosin when it comes to emo pop. Because, I mean, Translating the Name came out in 01, I'm pretty sure, and this came out in 01. These groups were way ahead of their time in incorporating pop melodies, but still being emo. This was, like, way before, like, emo pop was more like necessarily like a alternative rock derivative. But yeah, I'd recommend this to anyone that likes late 90s Midwest emo, honestly. Like if you like Knapsack, Antidote, actually wait, yeah, well, yeah, or if you like The Promise Ring, again, the Get Up Kids, Joshua, MIJ, yeah, all the poppier sounding ones, not the post rock sounding ones, not like the Jim Yoshi Pile Up or American Football, not bands like those, but bands like Midwest emo bands that are more poppy and like Sunday's Best even. But yeah,